Hey, I'm trying to get shit set up. It's the first time I'm doing this, so yeah. I don't. Sarah, if you can hear me, am I right side up? Do I look okay? Hey, there's T Step. That's not your name, but that's the nickname I gave you. Am I right side up? Or am I like, because I have my phone horizontally, and I want to make sure that it's not like the opposite way for you, or sideways. Fuck! Hold on. Maybe this will be better. Okay. Oh, God. So professional. Fucking cheap ass Amazon tripods. What are they good for? Okay. Okay. I think that's okay for now. I know it's a little off center uh, and not completely straight. But it'll have to do for now, I guess. Shit. Okay. Boom. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of practice like live streaming shit for really no reason at all, just to get better like live on camera. And you know, obviously you guys are on Facebook, so you've seen me make uh, or seen me post pictures of the tumblers that I make. Here's one that I just did earlier today. This person wanted snot on their Tumbler for some reason. I guess they chose the nickname option for customizations, and uh, I guess that is their nickname. So um, so yeah, that's the goal is to make one. I basically have my printout. It's basically sublimation ink on a transfer sheet, and I'm going to wrap this bad boy around this bad boy. Nice and smooth. Ugh. Um, so yeah, that's the plan. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna transfer that bitch, and we're going to pop it in this baby right here. I got it preheating. It is my countertop convection oven um, that I use for the heat transfer process. If I was rich and or money was no option, I would have a dedicated tumbler press, where it's basically I don't know, it kind of looks like a hot dog bun where it clamps on the tumbler, and then it does the work for me. But I don't have that because I am broke. So I use this cheaper method. So let's see. I want to angle the camera so you can watch me wrap this shit. So I want to try and do this in a way where you can see, but also make sure that my tripod is going to cooperate. So, yeah, this should be all right for now. All right. So, um, yeah. So normally, I mean, if I'm doing a 20 ounce, uh, I don't have to have it in like these two different pieces. You can kind of see that I had to cut it in half, cut the design in half in Photoshop, and then print it out and then tape it together because my printer is too small, or the printer itself is not too small. It's not like a quote unquote large format printer. Uh, but the goal is to eventually get one that can print like 13 by 9 prints or um, even bigger than that. And then that way I won't have to deal with this shit. Luckily for my 20 ounces like this, I don't have to. I don't have to print it in two sheets, but for the 30 ounces I do, and it's no big deal. Um, I've actually had a better track record of doing the 30 ounces and them coming out good as opposed to the 20 ounces. I'm not sure how the hell it works out that way, but it does. That's all right. So yeah, basically I just take the tumbler, lay it flat on the counter. The flatter the surface, the better, obviously. And the name of the game is just being as meticulous and anal retentive and obsessive compulsive about your measurements and size as humanly possible, so that there's like nothing left to chance. Because the last thing you want to do is like forget a step or not place the transfer sheet correctly and then it fuck up your prints in the process. That's not what you want. So yeah, one of the first steps is to there's my timer. That means that the oven is done preheating, which is cool. You kind of want to wrap it in a fashion where you kind of feel like it's secure and tight around the tumbler, and there's like no, um, if you were to squeeze it, like there's no pliability. That's a word. Um, Between the paper and the tumbler, like you want it snug as a bug. Um, I'm going to take my trusty tape dispenser and tape a couple of sections. I usually tape the middle and then the top and bottom. I just got this tape dispenser like 2 days ago. It has been a fucking lifesaver. I was shut the fuck up. For a couple weeks when I first started doing this, I kind of underestimated the amount of shit that I would have to buy up front. And I was like, I don't really need a tape dispenser. I'll just cut a bunch of tape beforehand and stick it on the counter and, grab it as I need. But this thing has been a lifesaver. So that's cool. Yeah, and this is a heat-resistant tape, by the way. Obviously, well, I guess not super obviously if you're not familiar with this process, but you can't just stick like Scotch tape on this and then stick it in the oven because you will have a melty, disastrous mess. So yeah, that's basically one of the first steps, and then. Here's some more heat-resistant tape, except it's a little bit wider. And what I like to do, once I get these three pieces on there, is to take some off. I like to stick it up top and fold it down, and then come down the spine. or the seam, and then cut it off. Cut it off. And what this does, shit, that looks like hot garbage. Paper is all wrinkly. Okay, so what this does, obviously, it secures the paper in place a little bit better. It also prevents the paper from like unfolding, because I've had that like start to happen during the baking process, where it will transfer, and the tape will almost start to like become not sticky anymore, and then the paper will just like unfold. And so that's why I like to use this wider tape, and then have a piece like right here and on the bottom to kind of better secure it on there. So yeah, that's kind of like step 2 or 3 or 5. I fucking lost count. Doesn't matter. So the next step is basically the last one, right before we stick this mother in the oven, and it includes taking one of these, which is a I don't know what you'd call this, but like a I forget what it's called. It's like a cellophane, maybe. But basically, you take it and you slip it on there, just like a condom, and you're getting ready for action, for business, because it's business time. And then, if I were prepared, I'd already have my heat gun. But I'm not prepared because I'm an idiot. So I'm going to go grab my heat gun real quick. I'll be right back. Haha. So, heat gun. Angle you back towards this bad boy so you can see the action. So, now what we do is we take this and we want to melt it, or not melt it, but like shrink it onto the tumbler, which provides another step in securing the transfer sheets onto the tumbler. It just gives it added pressure so it doesn't go anywhere or move during the heating process. So yeah, I apologize in advance if you can't hear me over the sound of this gun, but it's cool because it only takes a second. I'm melting! I'm melting! I guess it's a good thing that like actual condoms don't work this way. That would fucking suck. Basically just turn it like 2 or 3 times to make sure that most of the creases are out and it's onto the tumbler. Then you usually like to keep that unplugged so that it doesn't, I don't know, I'm afraid of ghosts and it just randomly turning on and then burning my fucking house down, which is not a good look. So yeah. Yeah, here it's time to stick this bad boy in the oven. We got it preheated to 400 degrees. We're going to cook it for total of 8 minutes, and we're going to rotate it clockwise every 2 minutes. And that's another reason why I have as you can see, the piece of tape on there is it kind of provides like a 12 marker on a clock, so gives me an accurate way to tell how well it's been rotated. So yeah, go ahead and set timer for 2 minutes, and now we play the waiting game. Um, yeah, and it doesn't really look like anyone is in here right now, which is cool. But this video will be uploaded later on to the Facebook group and the YouTube channel and all that. So yeah, I guess I'll use this time to just chat about random shit. So I guess if you haven't already, you can go follow me/us. It's really just me on TikTok. I do mostly Tumbler videos on there, just displaying my work, and then some podcast stuff from the Geek Garage podcast. We started doing video for the podcast not too long ago, and it's been a slow start. It's been a pretty steep learning curve, trying to get everything ironed out. But yeah, the plan is to eventually have a lot of video clips on TikTok and of course YouTube. Because we got a lot of requests for like video for the podcast. They're like, "Are you on YouTube?" And we're like, "Well, podcast is traditionally like an audio platform." Um, so yeah, apparently people want video. So yeah, we're gonna do that. It's almost time to rotate it for the first time. I got my love glove. Oh, hello. So boom, it's time to rotate it once. I would move the camera to show you how I'm rotating it, but I think you get the picture. I'm going to set the timer once again for 2 minutes. Play the waiting game again. So, yeah, like I said, I'm trying to do more stuff on TikTok, trying to build up a following there. Yeah, like I was hoping that I could leverage this Tumbler making and my Etsy shop to get more followers, subscribers, whatever you want to call it, for the podcast. And it's kind of sort of worked, but at the same time, not really. I'm not really sure how that works out. But yeah, that's definitely the plan, or has been the plan for quite some time now, is to just, as people buy my tumblers, also send them a business card for the podcast and be like, "Oh, by the way, if you like nerdy shit, like I know you do, because everything that I sell has a nerdy curve to it. You can go subscribe to the podcast because it's absolutely free." So yeah, let's see what else. Just released the most recent episode of the podcast earlier this evening. We normally publish on Wednesdays, but yeah, we had a couple of hiccups this week, and unfortunately didn't get it published, or didn't get it recorded, the episode recorded, until yesterday. And then we kept on losing power today for some reason. Like, I live in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and for some reason we kept on losing power. Don't know why. So I was like trying to work at home today, like I do, and for some reason we kept on losing power, and it made it really difficult to work. Got to set the timer for 2 more minutes. And so I would have had the episode uploaded a lot sooner, but yeah, it's difficult to do with no power, no internet, and no nothing. It's weird how that works. Like you lose power and then you realize how much you take all of that for granted. You're like, oh, I can't do anything. I could go walk my dog. That was pretty much the only thing I could do and clean my house. So I got some productive-ish stuff done, which was kind of cool. Um, so yeah, but yeah, this week's episode, I had my wife on, first time in quite some time that she was able to come on the podcast. We talked about Marvel's What If so far. There's been like 4 episodes as of this recording. And we talked about the first 4 and our thoughts. Lindsay is not as high on it as I am, which is understandable. She reads a lot of fan fiction, a lot of saucy fan fiction, I might add. So what she was hoping to get out of What If is a lot of like a comical, like random, like between the action kind of stuff. So like, you know, this is the Avengers like going to Kroger and buying produce. That's the kind of shit she was looking for, and it's kind of been pretty dramatic so far, which, like I said, I was cool with. She was less cool with it. Um, so, but what are you gonna do? I can't please everyone. So we are on our very last rotation. Huzzah! We're in the home stretch. Set it for 2 more minutes. And actually, this time I'm going to give you a glimpse at what is happening. So, obviously, that's not a brand new shot for you, but I'm trying to angle it so you can actually see. It's kind of difficult to do. But you can kind of see how the image is transferring onto the Tumbler. I'll show you. It'll be a little bit easier to see um, whenever it's completely done. So, yeah. Let's see what else. What else can I bullshit about for another minute and 12 seconds? I guess I can plug my buddy Andrew. He's super popular on TikTok. He does these fantastic voice impressions. He's kind of an up and coming budding voice actor. That's kind of what I think his long term goal. He'd really like to get into voice acting in some professional capacity, and there's no reason why he couldn't be because he's fucking fantastic. But yeah, go follow him. He's at Don Noleone, spelled with a K, kind of like Corleone from The Godfather, but with the AK. Yeah. So yeah, he does. Like I said, he does great impressions. Like he does Mark Hamill's Joker from the animated Batman series. He does a great Morgan Freeman, and one of my favorites is his Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. It's just bitch. Um, that's all it is, but it's so explosive and hilarious. And I love it. So, well, that is our timer. So it's time to take this bad boy out of the oven. So here we go. You see? So I'm going to set it on my drying rack. There you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. don't know if I want to hang out long enough for this to cool down, because the cool down process can be, uh, it can take, I don't know, at least 10 minutes um, to get cool to the point where I can unwrap it. So I might just disconnect or end this live stream and um, and then just share some pictures of the finished product in the comments. Plus, it's not going to be completely finished like this with the slime and everything. The slime is something that I add in. I guess I could talk about that for a minute. Um, so uh, obviously, um, what I've done here is it's like 95% done, but that last 5% is a pretty important 5%, because the slime at the rim, that's a signature touch. This is my pride and glory. Like, it's hands down my favorite tumbler to make, because it's completely original design. Obviously, it's taken from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to The Secret of the Ooze, but I modeled everything after the ooze canister. But anyways, so with the ooze, I basically take some part A and part B of epoxy, mix it up real good, and then usually about 15 to 20 milliliters of that is good, depending on the size. And then I take some of this neon green acrylic paint. It does not glow in the dark, but it does glow under black light. I tried to find uh, a glow in the dark green that looked like this, because I really like this color, like this neon color. It's really, I think it really nails the color of the slime. But the green that I found for that does glow in the dark, it's cool, but it's a little bit softer. To me, it just didn't really make the ooze look as good. It just doesn't pop as much. But anyways, sorry. I mix just a little bit of that ink into, or paint, sorry, into the um, the mixed up epoxy, and then you just wait. Um, and it typically takes anywhere from like an hour to an hour and a half or so for the epoxy to really start thickening up. I know a lot of people that do drips on their tumblers. They will use some other method, like I think some other people add like cornstarch, or just do a totally different mixture altogether. Like, they won't even use epoxy. They use like Mod Podge and either food thickener or cornstarch or some thickening agent to thicken it up, and then that way you don't have to wait, which is cool. But I like the anticipation. I like doing it and then waiting, and I don't know. It just, especially since making uh, transferring the design onto the tumbler, instead of doing all the spray paint like I used to do. It's a lot less labor intensive. So I still like to have a little bit of hands-on for the tumblers, or for this one. So yeah, like I said, typically wait about an hour and a half, and I stir it up about every 20 minutes or so, just to get the juices flowing. And once it's at a certain consistency, I'll take like just a regular sized popsicle stick, and just spread the epoxy mixture around the rim, and it will start to drip like this. And what I'll do is I'll have it on this, have it on something like this. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog tumbler that I am currently working on. That's pretty badass. Someone ordered it from me the other day, and I am almost done with it. It's got a couple more coats of epoxy. But anyways, so yeah, it'll go on like this, and I kind of flip it up and down so that's because sometimes the drip will drip too fast. And if that's the case, I mean, you don't want it to drip all the way down to the bottom. Here you can kind of see like, it's dripping across the, some of the text on the logo. And that's not, I mean, I think it's kind of cool, but I never know how someone feels like about the ooze covering up the design and stuff. So yeah, I just kind of rotate it back and forth every maybe 3 to 5 minutes just to make sure that it doesn't completely drip down and make a giant fucking mess. Because that's not what you want. But yeah, usually once I have it completely spread around the rim and it starts to drip down, it's usually about another hour or so before it's really done. If I'm in a pinch for time and need to rush it a little bit, I'll go out to my garage because right now it's, in the summertime, the garage is really hot. And I will leave it out in the garage and it will cure and thicken up and stop dripping in no time and like half the time. So that's cool. Sometimes I'll go do that if I'm, like I said, if I'm in a pinch for time and I need to go do other stuff. So yeah, let's see how. Actually, it is pretty cool to the touch. So I'm glad I could kind of bust through some bullshitting and wait for this to cool down because this obviously is the best part. So yeah. Also, another pro of putting this tape right here is like you can just peel it up and it actually helps to start the peeling process because this can be kind of a bitch getting all this tape off and everything. So that is what we're gonna do for like the next hour because that's usually like how long it feels to get all this off. Actually, it's all gonna come off in pretty easy fashion. Look at that, guys. Look at that. It's actually pretty good. One thing that I had a really difficult time with at the beginning was the seams where the two sheets meet, and you can see that that is actually not too shabby. It wasn't made by and constructed by little Chinese hands, so it's not going to be perfect. It was made by two American man hands that are very much imperfect. So, but yeah, I fucking love this. I love doing it the heat transfer sublimation method rather than the spray paints. I didn't think I was going to love it this much. Like I was saying earlier, doing it with the two shades of blue spray paint and then epoxy and then printing out the cap stickers on printable vinyl and the whole process was like pretty labor intensive, like 5 days from start to finish. But I loved it because the results spoke for themselves. They looked great. And actually, if you're familiar with the Viner slash TikToker Jake Hollins, he actually got the very first one of these that I ever made ever. So yeah, if Jake, if you happen to be watching, you probably have better things to do. But yeah, thank you for coming on the podcast again. And yeah, like I said, he got the very first edition of this Ninja Turtles tumbler. Yeah, like I was saying, I didn't think I was going to like the whole sublimation thing as much, but once I saw how like vivid and bright and saturated the colors are, um, I mean, you can just see like how great that green looks. I mean, it's just it looks, in my opinion, looks quite a bit better than doing it the old-fashioned way that I used to do it. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much the end of the stream, guys. Thank you. I know this is kind of my first time doing it, so I didn't really have a huge turnout. Hopefully, I'll be able to do a lot more streams in the future, and I'll have more people tuning in. That is the plan. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you're watching after the fact, and we will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.